I mean, look at this guy. Sickly, weak, frail, getting more deranged by the day. There he is on Air Force One with Jared Kushner, MAGA Mike Johnson, Dr. Oz. Donald Trump went to what was, I guess, supposed to be a memorial service for Charlie Kirk, but it looked like a deranged political rally where Donald Trump just started spewing hate. Like, literally, he was like, I hate my political opponents. I hate you. And then he started talking about tariffs and how he's going to find a cure for autism today. And I think they're going to blame Tylenol for causing autism in children based on their quackery. I think Tylenol probably has a huge lawsuit if they want to bring one. And of course, Donald Trump and his regime keep talking about things that I know are very important to you, like massive UFC fights in front of the White House so our taxpayer dollars can go to ridiculous things like this while people can't afford housing, they can't afford rent, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford gas. Energy prices are through the roof. People's health care is being ripped away from them by the Trump regime. People can't afford education, but Donald Trump is going to be doing UFC fights from the White House. I mean, how utterly ridiculous is that? 90,000 square foot golden ballrooms that corporations, foreign and domestic, I guess, can contribute to as well.
The President of the United States just used a memorial service to say out loud that he hates his political opponents, promised to sick the military on American cities, teased a miracle fix for autism with his two favorite TV doctors, and then pivoted to tariffs like he was reading a grocery receipt. That wasn't a eulogy. That was an authoritarian audition in a stadium. If you're watching on YouTube and want more reporting with receipts and zero fear, hit subscribe right now. It tells the algorithm this is worth protecting, not suppressing. Thank you. Back to the spectacle. The venue was Glendale, Arizona, the Cardinals Stadium, marketed as a memorial for Charlie Kirk and delivered like a campaign rally on steroids. The optics were already bizarre. Air Force One shots with Jared Kushner, Speaker Mike Johnson, Dr. Oz. Inside, the president wrapped grievance in black bunting and called it remembrance. Outside, a TikTok reporter filmed a carpet of abandoned lawn chairs, wagons, bottled water, snacks, the kind of litter you expect after a county fair, not a tribute. State Farm Stadium has a no-bag policy, so once the line formed and security tightened, people just dumped their stuff and stepped over it. A metaphor you couldn't storyboard better if you tried. Make a mess, move on, leave someone else to clean it up. Inside the arena, the president did what he always does. Turn someone else's story into his own. He linked Charlie Kirk's name to tariffs, to sending troops into Chicago, to rebranding his movement from MAGA to MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. And he promised one of the biggest medical announcements in the history of our country. With Bobby and Oz, of course, he even previewed an answer to autism. That is not policy, that is snake oil with a podium. Autism isn't a political chew toy, and it certainly isn't a stage prop for whatever conspiracy theory they plan to pin on Tylenol by lunch tomorrow. Parents deserve pediatricians and research funding, not reality TV medicine from the White House set.
In a world saturated with information, finding the truth requires unwavering dedication and independent voices. America Facticity stands as a beacon for factual, unbiased reporting, delivering the stories that truly matter. Join our membership for just $9 a month. Your support helps us grow our team and create even better content. Find the link in the description below.
Did you see this outside of the stadium where the Charlie Kirk event was taking place? There was like trash all over the floor. I'm not sure how this thing was organized, but it was a total and utter mess. Someone on TikTok, a reporter, posted this video of what was going on outside. Let's play this clip.
Look at all this trash left outside of Charlie Kirk's memorial in Glendale, Arizona. People left water bottles and chairs, they left wagons, they left snacks, all of it just littered across the ground. State Farm Arena has a no bag policy, not just clear bags, no bags. And that means folks who were out here since early this morning just left all their stuff out here. I don't know who's going to clean it up. Crowds of literally hundreds and thousands of people are just walking over this trash on their way to the security checkpoints.
And I'm about to show you what Donald Trump said on the inside, but let me show you what's going on the outside and what's actually happening in the United States of America. No, Donald, gas is not below $2 a gallon right now. I know you say that it's below $2. It isn't anywhere you look at gas. It's not all that low. Also, the dollar has collapsed this year more than any time, basically, in any recent history. Donald Trump's new H-1B visa scheme, where he will be charging, like $1 million or $5 million to expedite the H-1B visa process, while he has masked ICE agents disappear human beings. Well, that's going to now cost U.S. employers an additional $14 billion annually. And again, that's on top of all the tariffs that American corporations are paying. I'm sure you know the job market is absolute hell right now. That's one of the first times, I think, really ever in recent history where there are just so many people looking for jobs and those jobs don't exist.
And then, because there's always a then, he bragged about tariffs making us rich again, said they'll pay for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, as if a tax that raises prices on Americans at checkout is a magic ATM spitting cash into entitlement programs. Ask literally any farmer staring down their operating note at 8, 9, 10% interest right now whether tariffs are making us rich. We heard one of them at a recent GOP town hall, 3,500 acres under management, staring at red ink, bills due, crop prices squeezed, and a congressman who keeps kissing the ring while the ring keeps punching his constituents. Even a Republican like Don Bacon, no lefty, just admitted out loud that his coffee went up $4 a bag. That's not winning, that's shopping. The whiplash between pageantry and policy would be funny if the stakes weren't so high. Because while they promise UFC fights on the South Lawn and a 90,000 square foot golden ballroom stapled to the People's House, seriously, the man's idea of governance is a casino floor plan. The stuff that keeps families afloat is being quietly sawed off. The Affordable Care Act tax credits, set to expire if Congress sleepwalks or saboteurs get their shutdown. Rural hospitals, already teetering. The vaccine advisory boards that make sure we don't learn about a deadly outbreak from Facebook. Purged. If you've got a toddler, the shots you barely had to think about 5 years ago are suddenly the subject of talk show medicine and political stunts. And because everything is a stunt, data itself has become the enemy. Don't like inflation? Delay the report? Don't like hunger numbers? Cancel the annual count that's been published since the 90s? Don't like uncomfortable questions? Define a deep state, then declare any investigation that touches you part of it. That's how you wind up with a president live posting rage memes. Yes, including a gun glam still of an actor puffing a cigarette and the word salad threat, "Justice must be served now." And then accidentally tagging his attorney general in what reads like a panicked DM, "Go get Schiff, go get Comey, go get Letitia James." He literally signed it President DJT, like a telegram from a gangster movie.
But guess what? If your name is Ghislaine Maxwell and you're a convicted sex trafficker, ding, 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 the price is right for you. She's living the life right now. She's in this Camp Bryan in Texas. The Sunday Mirror got the scoop. She's doing yoga, having the time of her life as the Trump regime covers up the Epstein files. Let me bring you just into those back-to-back events over the weekend. There was that one event Donald Trump had in Mount Vernon, Virginia, where he called former President Biden a son of a bitch. He goes, don't feel bad for him. Former President Biden suffering from stage 4 cancer right now. He's the former president of the United States of America. And Donald Trump's there in Mount Vernon, Virginia, saying, don't feel bad for that son of a bitch. And Donald Trump uses the curse word. I mean, have we ever had someone so flagrantly inappropriate in that position? And that's the nicest thing I could possibly say. Here's Donald Trump saying that on Saturday night. Play this clip.
The very angry, mean Biden. You know, Biden was always a mean guy, but never a smart guy. You know, even you go back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, he was a stupid guy, but he was always a mean son of a bitch, you know? How's it working? Not working too well for him right now, as it says. So when you start feeling sorry for him, remember, he was a bad guy.
This isn't a fog of war. It's a fog of vibes. And the vibes are, do crimes, then demand prosecutions of the people who investigated the crimes. Meanwhile, the regime's cruelty isn't even coherent. Masked ICE teams sweeping up day laborers and dishwashers, while the same White House advertises a Trump Gold and Trump Platinum entry scheme where foreign oligarchs can throw $1 million or $5 million at a processing fee to glide through the residency line. So your cousin who's been here 15 years and pays taxes gets a raid, but a billionaire with a yacht and a wire transfer can waltz in tax-free for most of the year. That isn't immigration policy. That's a velvet rope. And because every velvet rope needs a villain, they're busy inventing one. As the president left the UK after an awkward carriage ride cosplay complete with absurd flattery from courtiers who should know better, he told reporters he still hadn't been briefed on Russian jets buzzing NATO airspace over Estonia. Either he wasn't briefed, or he was and he's playing dumb, or he didn't care. Pick your poison. In the same breath, he threatened Afghanistan to give back Bagram Air Base, a base we abandoned after his team cut its own deal with the Taliban and bragged about inviting them to Camp David on September 11th. He threatened Venezuela to accept people he labels from insane asylums, which is a slur, not a policy analysis. And while he was doing that, his official account was pushing explosion porn, U.S. gunships obliterating 24-foot fishing boats without a word about who was actually on those hulls or whether any of the people were trafficking victims. The message is the point. Show force, skip facts, bask in the comments. If you want to understand the through line, watch what they decide deserves a celebration. A memorial becomes a rally. A late-night monologue becomes a federal case. A UFC card becomes national culture. Meanwhile, medication costs still squeeze families, and the president's answer is, I'll cut drug prices 1,300%. That's not a plan. That's a mad lib. A 1,300% cut means the company would pay you to take the pill. You don't need a PhD to see that's gibberish. You just need a pharmacy receipt. Let's talk about the money machine behind the noise. Tariffs are taxes wearing a flag pin. They land on importers who pass them to wholesalers, who pass them to retailers, who pass them to you. There's no secret trick where you levy a tax and it magically fills the Social Security Trust Fund while prices drop. That's not how arithmetic works. And yet at the Glendale rally, we were told tariffs are paying for everything, that we are becoming richer and richer, and that other countries took advantage of us for years. It's the same fable every time. Pain now is actually prosperity. Your empty wallet is actually full. Meanwhile, the dollar's slide this year, however you want to measure it, has made imports pricier and travel rougher. You feel that at Costco. You feel it at the pump. You feel it when you open that medical bill you thought your ACA plan would cover if the subsidy is still there next month.
I mean, you're supposed to be the president of these United States, bringing people together. You're not supposed to stand there and say you hate your political opponents. Such an anti-American statement to make. I mean, truthfully, traitorous. Here, play this clip.
In that private moment on his dying day, we find everything we need to know about who Charlie Kirk truly was. He was a missionary with a noble spirit and a great, great purpose. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
And then Donald Trump at this speech, this is supposed to be a memorial service. He brings in his medical quackery as they're firing people on the vaccine board. That was one of those things that we don't even think about. Like, yes, the government's supposed to have qualified people on its vaccine advisory board. They got rid of all of those people. They're preventing or making it extremely difficult for kids under the age of 4 to get like vaccines for like just anything at this point. And now these quacks, they're going to go and they're going to say that they've discovered they discovered that autism is caused by Tylenol. I mean, to me, Tylenol has a mega defamation lawsuit. That's what they're going to go with. That they found the answer to autism. It's just quackery. And this is what he says at the memorial service. Here, play this clip.
It was Charlie who helped unite MAGA, and you know what MAHA is? That's right, make America healthy again. And tomorrow we're going to have one of the biggest announcements, really medically, I think, in the history of our country. We're going to be doing it with Bobby and Oz and all of the professionals. I think you're going to find it to be amazing. I think we found an answer to autism. How about that? Autism. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking in the Oval Office in the White House about autism, how it happens, so we won't let it happen anymore, and how to get at least somewhat better when you have it, so that parents can help their child, their beautiful child. That's a big one. I've been bugging everybody over there. Get the answer to that.
They'll say all of this is the price of strength. But the strongest thing said all weekend wasn't on a stage in Arizona. It came from a farmer at a GOP town hall who said the quiet part plainly, "When are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass?" That isn't partisan. That's survival. And it lines up with what even Republicans are starting to admit when the mic isn't drowning them out. Tariffs aren't working for people who buy food. They're not working for people who sell it either. Let me hit a quick midpoint call to action. If you appreciate original reporting, humor that serves the facts, and scripts built so you can follow the story without a PhD in econ, subscribe to the channel and tap the bell. It's free, it matters, and it keeps this work independent. Back we go. The Glendale speech wasn't a one-off. It was the crescendo of a weekend that told you exactly who's steering the car. The night before, in Mount Vernon, Virginia, the president called his immediate predecessor a mean son of a, mocked a cancer diagnosis, and told supporters not to feel bad for him. Think about how small you have to be to use a diagnosis as a punchline, to use Mount Vernon, George Washington's house, as the venue to do it. And then, the next day, try to baptize yourself in sympathy at a memorial while saying, into a microphone, that you hate your opponents and don't want good things for them. The president isn't even pretending to be the president of everyone. He's auditioning to be the president of retribution. And it's not just the rhetoric. It's the machinery now grinding into place to make sure the rhetoric sticks. You've seen the headlines about the Pentagon demanding that journalists sign pledges to report only officially released information to keep their credentials. You've seen the Bureau of Labor Statistics drag its feet on key data drops that used to be routine. You've seen the annual hunger survey quietly disappear under the excuse that the numbers are politicized. That's the point of numbers. They tell you whether powerful people are failing. If you're confident, you publish them. If you're worried, you do what this crew always does. Defund the smoke alarm, then insist there was never a fire. Speaking of alarms, here's one that should be blasting from every newsroom siren. While masked agents swept up roofers and restaurant workers, the president's border czar reportedly accepted $50,000 from undercover agents while promising help with contracts if the boss got reelected. And according to reporting, once the boss did, the case was declared a deep state probe and closed by appointees who didn't want the heat. That's not draining the swamp. That's stalking it. And because everything is projection with this bunch, they've decided late-night comedians are the existential threat. Imagine the fragility. 3 men with monologues knock the president's ego off its shelf, and suddenly the FCC chair is role-playing mobster on cable news about licenses he doesn't even control. Meanwhile, comedians who dared to say what every late-night host in history says about every sitting president are treated like enemy combatants. It's not about ratings, it's about ritual. Every autocrat wants a scapegoat and a stage. If you can hang a comic on the gallows in the town square, everyone else gets the message. Still, even in this fog, some clarity broke through.
But can we bring you into real America, okay, where I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, you know that groceries are not affordable right now. You know that right now healthcare is being ripped away. You know that they're shutting down rural hospitals if you live in rural areas. I mean, I think you know what's on the line. If you're a farmer speaking out at GOP Representative Alford's town hall recently. Play this clip.
I think agriculture has taken a heck of a hit on a lot of misinformation, and he is not helping the farmer. I mean, we farm about 3,500 acres. We are going to be so far in the red after the crop comes off, sold, you can only sit on it so long. You got bills to pay, and now we're dealing with 7, 8, 9, 10% operating notes at the local bank. You know, when are you going to stand up for us instead of kissing his ass for these trade deals? And the tariffs, more so the tariffs than the trade.
the way, even Republican Don Bacon from Nebraska, granted he's not running again for re-election, he admits what's going on. He's saying it. Here, play this clip.
I should speak up and hopefully try to bring a point that tariffs aren't working, at least the coffee. I mean, I went to bought coffee when I came back from my apartment, and it was up $4 the bag that I buy, right? People, that's not success right there. So I feel like if we have an opportunity to speak up, other people think they'd rather try to give them more time. But I think a lot of people share my view on tariffs. They share my view.
A lot of people are scared of it.
Yeah, it's not good out there right now, to put it mildly. And then, you have, I think in a powerful move that I support, UK, Canada, and Australia formally recognizing a Palestinian state, breaking with the U.S. They make that announcement on Sunday. So Donald Trump leaves the UK. The UK, Canada, and Australia announce that they are supporting recognition of a Palestinian state. The United States is not. And then Netanyahu says there will never, ever be a Palestinian state. And I just think about Donald Trump's promise that he was going to end the war in Gaza and end the atrocities there in 24 hours. Remember, he was doing those events in Dearborn, Michigan, Palestinians for Trump, Muslims for Trump. He's going to save us. He's promised that he's made things worse. Remember, Donald Trump said he was going to bring peace to Ukraine in 24 hours because I've got such a great relationship with Putin and such a great relationship with Zelensky. It's going to be easy. And now he says he was being sarcastic. It was all a joke. LOL. He didn't really mean he was going to stop the war. You didn't know that he's a stand-up comedian and he lied? Well, he's not a lie. It's a joke. It was like his comedy routine about life and death, war and peace. Funny guy, Donald. Funny guy. Here he is, just in his own words, saying that he was joking. Here, play this clip.
I'm not understating the complexity of all this, but as a candidate, you said you would have this war settled in 24 hours.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that. What I really mean is I'd like to get it settled.
Abroad, U.S. allies moved to recognize a Palestinian state, UK, Canada, Australia, signaling frustration with Washington's zigzags and the endless carnage in Gaza. At home, the president, who once promised to end that war in 24 hours, now says he was being sarcastic. The joke is that anyone ever took him seriously. A year ago it was, I alone can fix it. Now it's LOL, JK. He used the same routine for Ukraine. Peace in a day because he's buddies with both leaders, until the blood piled too high to pretend it was a sitcom. What do you do with all of this? First, stop normalizing it. A president who says he hates Americans who disagree with him is telling you what he wants the state to do in your name. A government that delays data and punishes journalists is telling you it fears reality. A movement that swaps doctors for daytime TV personalities and chews up vaccine boards is telling you public health is just another stage for them to work. And a party that worships law and order while kneecapping corruption probes into its own power brokers is telling you the only law that matters is for my friends, everything, for my enemies, the law. Second, keep receipts and keep perspective. The ornate nonsense, the ballrooms, the carriages, the UFC posters exist to distract from the bills on your kitchen table. Groceries aren't theater. Rents aren't theater. The notice your hospital just mailed you because your coverage changed isn't theater. Whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or one of the millions who are allergic to both labels, your life isn't a prop. It's the thing government is supposed to respect first. Third, and this is the part authoritarians always underestimate, be louder together. When comedians get pulled for jokes, make the joke bigger. When the FCC flirts with censorship by wink and nod, drag it into the sunlight with subpoenas and court orders. When the White House tries to convert a memorial into a loyalty test, show up outside with a camera and pan across the mess they left behind. And when they try to cancel facts, flood the zone with verified ones. That's what the No Kings protests set for October are about, reminding a palace cosplay artist that this is a republic, not a theme park. Let me land this with one last thought and a final CTA. Strong countries aren't led by people who talk the loudest about strength. They're led by people who do the quiet work. Funding clinics before flu season, stabilizing farm prices without turning farmers into collateral, publishing the numbers even when they're ugly, and resisting the urge to turn grief into a rally. We can still be that country, but not if we treat what happened this weekend like normal. If you're still with me, hit subscribe and share this video. That single click helps independent journalism survive the storm and make sure the next episode finds you, not an algorithm written to keep you asleep. We'll keep doing the work. See you in the next one.
And remember, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button.